Okay, so hello. I'm here in the Miklat at the Ink Hotel with my new friend Anna. Anna, hello.
Hi.
Tell me what you're doing here. Are you staying in the hotel? Where do
Yeah,
you
so-
live? Give me a little bit of your story.
Okay, so I live two buildings away actually on this street, and we took a room in this hotel because our building is not safe. We used to go to a shelter in a public school, which is like 3 minutes away from our house, which seems close, but yesterday we ended up spending 4 hours in the shelter. Wait, they need to close the door.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. I just want to make sure because I think because they're not Israeli, they're not aware of how important it is to close the shelter doors. Because, like, in the last Iran war, my sister was also in a shelter, didn't close the door properly, and the door she lived like 400 meters away from where a missile fell, and like the shelter door just flew off in the direction of the people. So it was
Okay.
like an older shelter, but it's really scary. And
Oh, it's terrifying.
yeah, I
It's
know it
terrifying.
might sound, I don't know, like I'm panicking, but it's like these rules are important. And since most of the people here are not Israeli, they're not aware of all the things that are obvious for me.
Right. So let me just explain a little bit about the dynamics. This is probably our like seventh, eighth. I lost count of how many times we've been in here,
Yeah,
basically
yeah, I
nonstop.
know. We get like an hour of rest and then we go back to the shelter.
And so what's been interesting for me is it's many French speakers, some German speakers, a Spanish speaker, because we're in the miklat of a hotel. I'm
Yeah.
not Israeli. I've gotten used to being here hearing Hebrew, but I'm very disoriented to be in this situation. And I'm not hearing very much Hebrew because the predominant language right now is French.
Yeah.
And I've also been shocked that so many of you in this room live in the neighborhood.
Yeah, also the other couple here, they also live in the neighborhood and they took a room just to have a shelter. And it's also, it feels good that you have a shelter in the building. So I told you yesterday I was able to take a shower. I was so grateful.
Joy and relief on your face.
No,
It's
really.
amazing. No,
Yeah.
it is. And if you could explain to people who are like in America or don't live here, the difference between 90 seconds just going straight down from your room versus 3 minutes going outside to get to a shelter.
Okay, I was able to be in the public shelter on time, but it was just scary every time. I have to go down the stairs in my building and then walk or actually run for 3 minutes and then come to the public shelter, which was actually nicer shelter than this one because, they were all families and like people of all ages and dogs. And it was like our neighborhood friends.
It was like a
They would-
community meeting
It is.
in the worst
It is.
possible
No,
circumstance.
it is. Like we have so many new friends from the previous Iran war.
Yeah.
But it's really scary.
So my ears are always open, but unfortunately I can't eavesdrop on the people who don't speak English. But I heard you talking about how you have a sibling who's now living in Berlin.
Yeah, so like after the last war, okay, it's been something both my sister and I were thinking about kind of independently about like moving away from Israel. Has been going through a really rough time even before October 7th, like with all the judiciary reform. And like the situation seems to be getting like worse and worse, especially for us, like liberals living in Tel Aviv. And then I think my sister was so frightened after October 7th. Like she was walking around with a knife in her pants because she was constantly scared. And actually, we took a flight to Cyprus like 3 days after October 7th.
Who's the we?
My partner and I, Miri. Like on October 10th, we flew off to Cyprus, stay there for a month. And then we figured, okay, we can go back. Because I thought like on October 7th, I thought that's it. Like that's the end of Israel.
Really?
We woke up and we saw, terrorists in the southern cities. And we were like, okay, like game over.
Really?
And like my parents thought, okay, now Lebanon and Iran are going to attack Israel all together. And that's it. We won't be able to defend ourselves. And
Let me ask you, just a little background. Where were you raised? Are you from Tel Aviv originally?
So I'm from like a smaller city called Givatayim. It's really
Right.
close to Tel Aviv. And actually, I was born in Russia. Like my parents immigrated to Israel in 1990, like, the Soviet Union falling apart. And so they brought me here when I was 2 years old. And my sister was born in Israel. So,
Okay. And I think you're identifying as a liberal. Is that what I'm
yeah,
hearing? Yeah. What do you?
I would say like Democrat. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, I heard you saying that like maybe it was not popular for you to be expressing doubt right now, and as there's this whole like together we will win and Am Yisrael High and all this stuff.
So Am Yisrael Chai, it's not like a common thing in my milieu. Milieu, you have
Yeah,
that word in English. It's
yeah.
French, but
What is it? What is
it
it?
means like in my common friends
Yeah,
and
like in your
coworkers.
circle. Yeah,
Yeah, my
yeah.
circle. Yeah, people don't really talk like that.
Mhm.
That's like
It's like a slogan from the outside.
yeah, but it's slogan for like the more simple people.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. No, you know what? Just from someone coming from outside, you might think it's like, oh my God, everybody thinks like this. No, but like normal, let's say more educated people, maybe less religious, won't talk like that. Like it sounds ridiculous.
How do you feel about being Israeli right now?
Ashamed after everything that's happened post October 7th and the never ending war in Gaza. I'm ashamed to be Israeli. I'm, in some sense, I'm even ashamed Israel started this attack over Iran. I think if the United States wanted to do something, they should have done it. And I'm ashamed we got ourselves kind of dirty and hitting Iran first. I'm not proud of it. Do you
There's a
think, I think,
possibility that a good thing will come from it?
yeah,
Or
for sure.
you do?
But I'm not proud of it. I don't think that starting wars is something to be proud of. Yeah, for sure, something good might come out of it, for sure. But yeah, I'm just being honest. I wish like October 7th hadn't happened or, something happened to us. That war should have ended after half a year, tops. And I really believe it all continued because of the internal political situation in Israel and the hostages. They shouldn't have been there for 2 years. So many people just didn't survive. It's horrible.
There's graffiti on this street, somewhere on the street, and it says something like, love your country, hate your government. Something like that. Like you should love your country and hate your government.
Yeah.
Does that feel right to you?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think we have really bad government.
Do you have any hope about the elections?
Well, I do. We actually, my partner and I, we just purchased an apartment in Tel Aviv, which is like
Okay.
an extremely expensive city.
It's an extremely expensive city. It's an act of faith.
I would say it's an active, like, we're not moving away at the moment. So we can just, we really wanted to get ourselves a home. Many Israelis have foreign citizenships. Wow.
So this is another siren in the same.
Yeah. So like,
We're still sitting here. Yeah.
so like I'm Russian. My partner, her parents are from Argentina. Both countries which are not like the best. Like our neighbors, there was a family in our building and they have two kids. One of them is 19 and the other is 16. And after October 7th, they finalized their Austrian citizenship and they actually moved to Berlin this week.
Oh wow.
I was like, okay, we're not moving away because we don't have an option. And Tel Aviv is great. I love it here.
I love it here. It seems like a great city for you. I've known you for 5 minutes, but it seems like a
I
great
love
city
it here. I love the weather. I love the vibes. And wasn't for the war, I had a good life here. But we do live in a really bad neighborhood. Like, I wish Israel wasn't in the Middle East.
I was going
Really.
to say, so people need to understand when you say you're in a bad neighborhood, a tough neighborhood, you mean the regional neighborhood.
Regional, yeah.
You're trying to live a Western life in the Middle East, and it's not always coming
Yeah, I
together.
wish I don't care about like Jerusalem. Really.
Yeah.
I wish like Israel was just somewhere else, and then we wouldn't care about like Arab countries. And yeah, I want to live in a Jewish country where Jews can be safe and live their lives. And I'm an Israeli person. I speak in Hebrew. I read Hebrew. That's like my language. That's my culture. I'm not talking about being Jewish as a religion, but more of a cultural thing. Like Shabbat for me is not a religious thing. It's just like kind of a cultural thing. Same for the holidays. I want to live, with my people, but I don't want to fight for anything. I just want to have a normal life. But unfortunately, there are many Jews in Israel who do think they have a connection to this land, and it feels like politically things have taken a turn of their voice is heard
Louder.
louder, but they're not necessarily the majority.
I think that's really important. It's nice to talk to like an Israeli liberal because a lot of what we get in America is the voices of people who are, you know,
And
Hasbara, all
and I
that
think
stuff.
like in American terms, maybe I wouldn't be considered that liberal. Maybe I would be considered like, I don't know.
Center. But that's because the issues that face you are very different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like when I read about like American stuff of times I'm like, like I wouldn't be that much of a lefty in the States.
At a certain point, the left, circles back on itself.
I just want to point out that when you say, okay, you're a liberal, I'm just, I wouldn't necessarily hold on to this land.
I say that's really interesting. So, first of all, what kind of work do you do?
I'm a hardware engineer.
So, let me ask you one other genre of question, which is that for this series of interviews that I've done here, we're talking to people a little bit more about music. You were talking about buying an apartment here, and you really don't have another place. You would like to have another place, but you don't have another place. And I wonder what you think about the song "Ein li eretz acheret." Does that
What?
Ein li does that what is that? Does that mean
Wow.
something to you? As we're sitting in this bomb
I
shelter,
don't like this song.
Yeah, tell me why.
Because it's kind of a horrible song. It's saying, okay, it has some nice parts to it. It says like, which means I don't have another land, not another country, not another people. I don't have another land, even if the ground is burning. I don't have another land, which obviously I don't relate to. But then it has another sentence, which is nice. It says, like, only a word in Hebrew gets to my heart, which is something I can relate to. I don't know, because as I said before, I'm a Hebrew person
Culturally,
culturally.
in your
Yeah.
core, yeah.
So I know people can immigrate and move to another country, but then, like, when my parents immigrated when they were 30 and moved to Israel, they didn't. It's not like my sister moving to Berlin and learning another, like the German language. They felt like they were Russian Jews and they felt like they were home. And my sister, she feels good in Berlin. Okay, she feels good. She likes it there. She learns German. She likes the culture there, the like Western culture. She likes the freedom there. But I don't know if she feels home. I think her mother tongue would be forever like Hebrew. So you asking about the song, this is something I can relate to.
Well, that's helpful. Do you remember any contrast between what you were listening to before October 7th and what you listen to more now, Israeli music?
I'm kind of sick of Israeli how would you call it? I don't know how to say it in English, like patriotic songs.
Yeah, patriotism. Yeah. Yeah. Nationalist songs.
Nationalist songs. A lot of them came out after October 7th, like whatever, praising the army and praising. I don't like that bullshit.
Okay.
I hate it, actually.
Okay.
So
What is there music, other kinds of music that you think we should check out? I mean, that's not all of Israel. Israeli music is everything, right?
yeah,
It's so
Israeli music
big.
is everything. And I actually think a lot of Israeli music is kind of more of the Arabic style,
You're like Mizrahi,
Eastern,
yeah.
Mizrahi,
Yeah.
which is like, it's hip. And there is actually a singer that apparently all the younger, like a guy from my office told me, oh, do you know Odaya? Like my younger daughter asked me to go to her concert, and then I listened to her songs, and I was like, that's not for your age. And then I asked another friend of mine, and she said, oh my God, Anna, you're so like old, because she's like Gen Z and I'm like,
Millennium,
millennial.
yeah.
And she's like, oh my God, Anna, you're so old. Like everybody loves Odaya. She's so cool. And oh my God, they're playing her in our Pilates class. Don't you listen to the songs? And I'm like, you know what? Yeah, they are playing her songs in our Pilates class. And ever since that talk, I listened to some of her songs, and she's hip. Some of the words I don't really like, but she has hip songs, so you should check her out. And
What songs do you listen to when you're sad and you don't know how to process what's happening?
I don't listen to music right now, really. I don't.
Okay. Was that true after October 7th also?
I don't remember the life before October 7th.
Okay.
Really. It's like, I think it's changed my life forever. I don't remember life before.
How are your parents doing? They lived through some really hard times in the Soviet Union, and now they're going through this.
So my mom completely freaked out on like October 7th, and she's kind of living the trauma. And my mom is also consuming a lot of how do you say it? Not communicate news when you read.
Yeah,
She's
news.
reading like Russian news, and she's reading a lot about like Ukraine and Russia war, and she is constantly afraid. Like she's looking at Ukraine, and you see what happened to Ukraine, that might happen to us. So she's in a kind of ongoing trauma. Like
Yeah.
I met her a month ago, and she told me, oh, I got you a gift. And I'm like, okay, what did you bring me? And my sister just came for a visit from Berlin, and she gave us whistles. And I'm like, Mom, like, what the hell? And she's like, it's really important when you go to the shelter, you just put it in your bag. It's really important. You have a whistle with you everywhere if something happens. If like the building falls on you,
So
if
you
you're
can
in
alert
ruin, alert
rubble, you
people,
can-
you're there. And I was like, oh my God, Mom is like, she's in a mess.
She's not doing well.
She's not doing well.
Well, she's feeling what's here and she's feeling what's happening
In
in Ukraine.
Yeah, for sure. And then my dad, he's cool. But it's like Iran war is the first time he's been going to the shelter. Because before, and like when there were missiles from Hamas
Or, the Houthis.
or Houthis or Lebanon,
Yeah.
he would just stay in bed. He would say like, okay, like the odds it would hit me are too low. And then the Iran thing started like half a year ago. At first, he didn't go to the shelter because he was being like all brave. But then after the first hit, he completely freaked out. And then he's like, he's going to the shelter. He has his taking their passports and like all their documents with them in case something really bad happens.
So something really clicked differently for him about this.
Yeah, but it's not only him. I think there are a lot of older generation people like him that weren't really afraid of like Hamas stuff. Right. But then Iran was scary shit.
I'll ask you one more thing. You know the song, I don't know how to say it in Hebrew, Choref 73?
Oh my God, it's a horrible song.
Tell me what you mean by horrible. I think it's sad.
It's really sad, but do you know like the history of it?
So I'll tell you and you tell me if I'm right, okay?
Okay.
It was like the promise that was made to the children in 1973 after the Yom Kippur War was this was going to be the last war. And their generations were not going to have to do this again and again. And then it's like them making a song 20 years later saying you made a promise and it's broken.
Yeah.
Did I get that right?
Yeah.
Okay, because I've been learning a lot about Israeli music this trip.
First of all, I think it's a really beautiful song.
Okay, when you said horrible, I was like, oh, do you not like?
No, it's a
musically
beautiful song. That's why it's so touching, because they used to sing it, and they used to have like military bands. I don't think they still have them.
They might. I don't know. I don't know if they do.
I'm not sure about it, but I think the performance, the iconic performance of the song is by the whole band, or how do you call, like, a group of people singing, not necessarily a band.
Like a chorus.
A chorus, exactly. And it's so touching, and they sing beautifully. It's not like unlike Eli Eretz Acheret, which is kind of a bit feels cliche and kind of old. Here it's more about my generation. Not really my generation, but like I was born in 88. But still, it's about like a promise. It feels like something broke in the Israeli society, because before, when I was growing up, all the slogans for the elections were only X would bring you peace. You can only be safe with this leader or that leader. And now, like in the elections, you're only strong with this leader. Like peace is for wussies. It's for the unrealistic people. It's for like, no, you're a lefty from Tel Aviv. That's why you still talk about this rude word, peace. And now you're only talking about like power. And
so the show that we're doing, this like limited series inside the whole show, is of like a combat veteran who was there on October 7th. I interviewed him at a trauma clinic, and not every Israel, but like one version of Israel, which is like, we face war all the time, and we are obsessed with peace. Something happens.
I wish we were obsessed with peace. I feel.
But it used to be, at least.
It used to be. It used to be.
Like he likes like Winter of '73 and now Yamim Shel Sheker.
Oh my God, that's such a beautiful song.
Oh, it's so nice to talk to you about the music.
Okay, so these two songs are really songs I grew up on.
Yeah.
We used to hear them all the time in our I was a youth movement.
What was yours?
It doesn't exist anymore. I don't want to even say its name. But in our youth movement,
okay,
it was a sort of branch of Bnei Brit, and we used to listen to those songs all the time. Like, I really grew up on them. I love them. They're beautiful,
and they express your values
for sure. Wow. And
I'm bringing you back, huh?
Yeah. You know, I have a friend who is like, he always says, I'm not Israeli, in the terms that, like, I have a lot of cultural gaps because my parents are Russian. So they didn't teach me a lot of Israeli cult movies or a lot of Israeli, cult sitcoms. And he is always surprised when I'm really familiar with these songs, and then I tell him, like, I just used to listen to them in our youth movement. These are beautiful songs, like, truly, wow.
Do you remember being alive when Rabin was assassinated?
I was in second grade. But yeah, now you're talking about the real, you should talk about it with me. She was 18.
So you guys are 10 years apart?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she was part of what was called the Candle Generation. I don't know if...
How do you say it in Hebrew?
Dor Nerot.
Dor Nerot, okay.
Which is basically, these are the teenagers that after Rabin was assassinated, they used to come to the Rabin Square and light candles, and they are called the Candle Generation. But it's like a thing. It's the generation of the young people who still used to have T-shirts of peace now. It was like a peace movement. This peace movement still exists, but like, if I would walk with a T-shirt Shalom Achshav, I don't know, might spit on me. Maybe.
Because it seems like it's become this kind of like anti-Israel, pro-Palestinian.
Yeah, but it's not. Oh
it's
my
not
God.
Supposed to be. I know.
Yeah.
Just really appreciate you talking to me. We are downstairs in this miklat, and I'm sure we will be seeing
No, but
each other.
It was great. It really, time passed really nicely.
I'm so glad. Thanks for sitting with me.
Sure, thank you.
Thank you, really.